Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Summit EU coverage. We're back with 3 group stage matches. Only 3 games today, but it should be 3 good ones. We'll see Power Rangers in full force. They'll have a mini gauntlet, and up first is Power Rangers versus Next League. I'm Zyori, solo from the studio, but I'm joined by a remote co-caster. Hippie, going to be on the cast. Chris, are you coming in loud and clear, buddy?
I should hope so, unless you
Oh.
broke something in the past couple minutes.
Nope, I think you're sounding pretty good. Hopefully Roland can handle the audio balancing and viewers' ears aren't being blown up. But, Chris, we've got a game on our hands. We've got PR versus Next.kz, and I know you're excited to see a little bit of Power Rangers action. They were kind of our fan favorites in Starladder Season 7, and they upset Alliance in Starladder Season 8 as well. I have high hopes that they'll do well in Summit EU.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think people still, in spite of how good they've gotten, don't give them a lot of credit. And adding Scandal to their roster a few months back has just been amazing for them. Getting that incredibly solid mid player, sneaking him out from the rest of the CIS scene, which was pretty impressive. I'm honestly surprised they don't have a bigger sponsor yet, but it'll come. It'll come in time.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, to be perfectly frank, I had forgotten that they picked up Scandal, and of course, there he is, tagged up as a member of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He was a stand-in for like the duration of Starladder Season 9, but they made it official. So this is a really scary roster. He replaced ZXC in the mid lane, and to be perfectly honest, I think ZXC was their weakest player going back, 4 or 5 months ago. So this is pretty close to an all-star lineup, in my opinion, in terms of who PR had to work with. Now, Next.kz, they do have a stand-in here. Sharfik is with them, but I'm not sure who he is in place for. I believe Pranks and Jokes is Reeves, and I forget who their drafter is now. Tagged up as some sort of anime that I don't recognize.
Yeah, I can't help you with that one.
Nope.
Sorry.
No worries, mate. I looked it up yesterday and I've already forgotten. So anyhow, PR had first pick here. They grabbed themselves the Invoker, and Next.kz grabbed the Bat Rider Ancient Apparition right away, and then there's your Shadow Demon. So I think it's pretty safe to assume we'll see some Exort Invoker. Next League ban out the Marana right away to limit that setup with the Shadow Demon. And PR right there with their third ban on the Nyx Assassin, which is a little interesting. I would have thought that they may be interested in picking him up to try and deal with that Bat Rider.
Certainly a possibility, but at the same time, you know that Next has the first pick after the banning phase. So if you're really afraid of having that snagged out from under you, obviously Shadow Demon pretty squishy. Invoker going Exort, you're not going to have the Ghost Walk quite as early because you're trying to get that 404 up, so he's a little bit easy to gank, especially with the offlane Nyx if he goes that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just he's a frustrating hero to deal with in general. Do you like playing against him? Nobody likes playing against that hero.
No, nobody likes playing against that hero. It's true. He's a pain in the ass, especially if you have a Bat Rider. So PR ban out the Fairy Dragon, a nice staple mid lane tempo controller, and we'll see what Next.kz ban out next here. What else pairs well with the Shadow Demon other than Marana and Centaur? Those are kind of the big two that I really fear with
Lena.
the disruption.
Lena and Leshrac are both pretty good with it. Leshrac, I forget who it was, but it was done pretty recently, and there's this there's a new tactic with some tree cutting on Radiant side that of course they're not on Radiant side, so that doesn't really matter. But there is a new tactic for Ancient cutting on Radiant side where you can farm Ancients with Lesh from level 1.
Oh.
It's one of those incredibly greedy things that you shouldn't really see a lot, but if it works, hey, I mean, your Leshrac ends up really farmed at the start of the game.
Super cheesy, huh?
Oh, it's just, you do it with Dusa, you can do it with Tinker, you can do it with plenty of heroes, it's just not that viable.
It's viable if the other team doesn't scout it out, but if they kill you once or twice, it's just a complete train wreck,
Yeah.
and then you're stuck with pretty much nothing. Now, all right, Next League, they'll make things interesting here. They'll ban out the Timbersaw, and that's usually a sign that you want to go for a Strength Core lineup. And right after, without a moment's hesitation, we'll see a third pick, Kunkka. It's been a long time since I've seen the Pirate, the Admiral.
Well, it's going to combo up very nicely with the AA. If they really need to, they can pull people back into that ultimate. Obviously, if you can combo up that ultimate well-timed with like a Torrent and a Ghost Chip, that'll just kill entire teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be reasonably frightening. Obviously, nothing they really need to worry about in terms of like Xing people back with blinks or something like that so far, but it does put kind of a damper on some of the more high mobility heroes because the X, of course, is just that free torrent.
Yep. So my question now is, how are Power Rangers going to react to this? Kunkka versus Invoker in the mid lane. Um, I don't know. I don't. Who wins that? An Exort Invoker versus a Kunkka? I'm not sure I've seen that matchup in at least this patch, if not two patches.
It's going to start kind of frustrating for the Invoker, kind of like it does in a lot of Kunkka matchups, but I think once he gets the higher level Forge Spirits and they have a little bit more duration, they're not getting cleaved down quite as easily. The Invoker will be able to slowly push Kunkka out of lane just because it's too much harass, and Kunkka's starting armor is not good at
Mm-hmm.
all. So he's going to get just wrecked as soon as he's got the minus armor on him.
Yeah, that's a pretty recurring theme with these strength core heroes. They've got a lot of hit points, but if they had a lot of armor, they would just be unbelievably tanky. They would all be like Ogre Magi, and then Dota wouldn't be nearly as fun. Power Rangers, they third pick Luna to go with their Shadow Demon Invoker, so a pretty well-rounded draft. They've got some pushing power from the Exort Invoker if he chooses to go that Basilius Necronomicon kind of style, and they've got, of course, a nice hard carry there with their Luna. Maybe they will go for one of those aggressive stunner supports like you were mentioning, a Leshrac, a Lina, or even a Dazzle could work pretty well here. That heal bomb after disruption can be pretty potent as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dazzle, just in general, a very, very potent hero. And Luna, of course, a pretty squishy hero. And so you get away with a whole lot. And then your triple range tri lane will also push very, very nicely. I think they're probably going to want to wait and see if they can get away with a greedier support. Like something like maybe an Enigma or like a Chan or someone that's going to help them with that pushing in the early game. Because if they don't feel like Luna is going to be under enough pressure that she needs two heroes in lane, and
Yeah.
like two heroes available and ganking heroes, they might want to go for a little bit more push to complement the Luna aura. At the same time, if you are going to end up with an Exort Invoker, then you want good ganking presence around the map that he can just, obviously Sunstrike, finish people off, be that stunning force we know he can be.
Yeah, and I know some teams don't really like picking Dazzle into Ancient Apparition. If you have a Shadow Demon as well, between the Grave and Disruption, you should be able to keep people alive through Ice Blast. That's it. I was going to call it Icy Blast. Through Ice Blast if they're about to shatter, but usually one or the other is close to enough, at least in most situations. Now, next league, they grab the Treant Protector with their fourth pick, and right away Power Rangers say, I know a hero that cuts through that living armor pretty effectively, and that's Darkseer with that Ion Shell. They do not hesitate at all. And he'll be their offlaner. Final bands come out, Weaver and the Disruptor for next league. So Power Rangers will need a support with this final pick, and next league they'll need a carry of sorts. I guess they could try lane the Kunkka, but safe to assume he'll be in the mid lane, and now they'll need somebody to lane with that AA and Treant. But I don't know, you don't see these two supports paired together too commonly. They're lacking a little bit of control. I mean, you've got your X marks the spot torrent combo, you've got your lasso, but I guess you get a count overgrowth in there as well.
Also, Leech Seed is honestly, even from level 1, the slow is pretty potent. It's 4.5 seconds, 28%. It's nothing to sneeze at, so you can get a good amount of chase off of that. And that's a hero we're seeing more and more of recently. People picking up that Wraith King, thinking about just how good that Vampiric Aura can be when it's hitting all of your heroes. Although, personally, I'm a fan of the support Wraith King and just max the aura and the stun and just wreck people with it, but
Yeah.
I guess you can play him carry and actually use his third skill. I guess that's okay, too.
Yeah, I'm still not totally sold on him as a carry. It's okay. I still haven't seen him in enough games to try and really have a strong hold on. Of the games that he's won, how many of those were because of Wraith King, and how many of those were just games that the team with Wraith King had a much higher skill level than their opponents, or they just won the other lanes anyhow, and pretty much any other carry in his stead would have done the same thing, gotten a little bit farmed after owning the lane, and then gotten a few kills, a couple towers in the first 10 minutes, and all of a sudden you've got a pretty fat carry. So it definitely can work, and Mantis will be playing him, so no surprise there. Leshrac will actually be that final pick for Power Rangers, so you get a couple of bro points there, Hippie. And, well, Shadow Demon Leshrac will be on the field. I doubt it'll be that jungling Lesh, but still, pretty solid setup.
No, they got the Leshrac because not only does he work well with the Shadow Demon, but now if you really have a well-timed vacuum into a well-timed split earth into a well-timed meteor, that's an entire team fight right there.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to do anything else. You'll kill everybody.
Yeah, and, looking at this draft, I worry a little bit for Next.kz because they just don't have any pushing power. They have great defensive abilities. They've got the Ice Blast. They've got the Treant and Living Armor. Both of those are difficult to push into. Even Batrider, he can be, and Kunkka for that matter, pushing into the boat is not really that much fun. But how are they going to counter push? How are they ever going to seal the deal and break high ground? They're going to have to wipe Power Rangers outside of their base, basically. Maybe a bad Roche fight or something like that. But conversely, if Power Rangers just win little skirmishes, they've got plenty of pushing power between the Invoker, the Leshrac, and even once that Luna starts to come online, she can be pretty potent in pushing as well with the Aura. And they'll be able to knock down towers pretty easily. So I think Next.kz, the pressure is kind of on for them to do pretty darn well in this laning stage and have a solid mid game and try and minimize the amount of structures that get taken down.
I do think the Treant will help quite a lot in that for Next.kz, just because if anyone's solo pushing a lane as opposed to pushing it as 2 or 3, it'll take them a while to chip through that armor. You can make stuff happen. The AA Ice Blast will counter push very, very nicely. And Kunkka, I mean, once he gets to decent levels, he's not, a magnificent tower pusher, but at the same time, he clears waves so quickly that you can get a double or triple wave set up under the towers to help tank for you, to help chip them down. So it's not terrible, but I do agree with you. They're a lot worse off than Power Rangers. They're not going to be able to get quite as much out of each team fight win. At the same time, though, I think their team fight in general is quite a bit stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So not crushingly so, but strong enough that they should be able to take early skirmishes unless Power Rangers finds a little bit of extra farm. Especially just because the Luna is going to be so easy to blow up for a while.
Yeah, Equal and J4 going blow for blow in the bottom, but J4 with a double damage rune, that's your first blood right there. Shadow Demon takes out Equal, and oh, how lucky for him that first rune was a double damage. Any other rune, maybe he could have done it with a haste, but DD just makes it so much easier. Tree did everything he could, he even skilled the Leech Seed, but just wasn't enough to keep him alive. So, as we're talking about that, Power Rangers off to a good start here as they get the first kill up on the board.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that you get that crazy illusion damage, the 30% damage on the level 1 Treant. That's almost like 25 damage per swing from each of those illusions because Treant's just so ridiculous.
That's a good point. It's like the perfect matchup, the Shadow Demon illusions versus the Treant, aka the hero with the highest starting damage in the game. GG. Unfortunate for Next.kz, and Cheshire Cat in this offlane actually already taking a good bit of harassment from the Ancient Apparition as well as that Wraith King. He did go Ion Shell level 1 as most Darkseers will, but that lack of surge almost cost him his life, forced to salve up already. Now let's look at the initial ward situation here. Dire side do have an observer on the other side of the tree line in the bottom lane, so that'll make Darkseer's life a little bit easier, and they've got a ward up on the high ground here for the top rune. Radiant, they've got a top rune ward as well, and I'm not sure where their other observer went down. I think it may have gotten countered in the top. There is a dire sentry down right about here. So I have a feeling they may have lost the initial warding battle here out of the gate.
Yeah, and the Scandals actually decided to go against what both of us had predicted when we saw the Shadow Demon. He's going Quas, which I don't have a problem with considering the rest of the ridiculous team fight they have. You can still get a good vacuum into EMP, vacuum into Tornado, stuff like that. Plenty of good AoE to combo up with the Darkseer, and it makes his laning situation against Sharfiq just jokingly easy because Cold Snap. Cold Snap on any melee is basically the worst and most frustrating thing to deal with in the game.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be the case here. I guess Scandal could still transition into Exort if he wanted to, with 2 points in Quas, keeping his options open, but generally this is a sign that you're going to be going Quas Wex. Usually those Exort Invokers pick it up nice and early on so they get a little bit of extra last hitting, but I certainly have seen Invokers transition into Exort later on. Darkseer, leeching some experience, finally gets level 2. There's his Surge, and now he can play a little bit more aggressive. But as I say that, Invoker hits level 4, and Scandal does grab that first point in Wex, so I bow to you, good sir.
You were right. I was assuming a little bit. I mean, generally, also on top of getting the Cold Snap against a melee, having that bonus regen against Kunkka is gigantic.
Yeah.
Because of course he's one of those heroes that kind of pushes you out of lane with constant harass over and over, kind of like TA with Psyblades, as opposed to burst harass, like someone like a Puck who's trying to hit you with nukes every once in a while, or a Zeus who's trying to hit you with lightning bolts. So just having the constant HP regen kills a whole lot of Kunkka's strong laning potential.
Yep, and Bat Rider maybe in a little trouble here. Has plenty of time left on the Firefly, and yeah, he'll just scoot up to the high ground. FNG can't find the split earth, saw Lesh throwing his hands up in the air, but FNG, man, he's been on point with these wards. He threw down a sentry outside of the Ancients, and he'll counter the other observer, and right now, Next.kz, they're completely blind around the map. Unless they've got a creeper or hero there, they have no vision. So Power Rangers, 3.5 minutes in, they will have complete ward coverage for at least a few minutes here, and that's just great news. Luna is already capitalizing. Last hit leader, 25-5. Quite a big margin up on the Wraith King, who is her counterpart on Next.kz.
Man, I mean, I think it's less important that Power Rangers can see everything and more important that Next can't. Because Power Rangers, they don't have to worry too much about early rotations from Tree and Ancient Apparition. You could get kills if someone was way out of position. Like, it's certainly doable, but it's not something you're going to be terrified of. They're mostly just going to be jungling, trying to get their farm up. All these heroes kind of want to farm before they do a lot of ganking, especially the Bat Rider. But you have a Leshrac and a Shadow Demon, and here we go. Invisible Shadow Demon. Tornado.
Tornado, some Soul Catcher action there, Disruption, Lesh on point with the Split Earth, and this should be a pretty easy kill on the Sharfik. The Cold Snap even comes out. Edict not doing a hell of a lot as the Creep Wave comes in, but still, they secure that kill. FNG on the Leshrac gets credit for it, and now Kunkka, he will be struggling a bit in this mid lane. That'll give Scandal some time to grab a few last hits and level things out in terms of CS, and now he should pull ahead in terms of experience. Actually, with 3 heroes, it gets split pretty well. Invoker hit level 6, and Kunkka will be halfway through level 5, so not too devastating, but Sharfik porting back to lane and trying to get that ghost ship online.
Moderately significant is that Invis rune prevented them from having to use either of their smokes, so they still have 2 available.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like they might want to just go back mid.
Uh-oh. The Admiral? You're so young. You were so brave. Tornado once again to start things off. Cold Snap.
What a smart movement
Still
decision.
available. Oh, beautiful Split Earth. They don't even need the disruption for this setup. Edict from the high ground. Plenty of damage. Power Rangers. Looks like the Megazord may be coming out here in game 1, Hippie. They are looking good.
Hey, I mean, freestyle Split Earths, it's one of those things, if you can't land freestyle Split Earths on the Leshrac, you probably shouldn't be playing in a pro match. It's hard, don't get me wrong, I mean, but I really enjoy that hero, and one of the core components is you can't always be reliant on setup, as nice as it is to have. But I really do think Sharfik very nearly avoided that by having that very smart movement decision. He knew, even though he couldn't quite see them when he was getting Tornado, that meant they were coming in behind him again. So he says, okay, I can't just run back up those trees. I have to try and run down the river somehow. I think if he had actually run north, he would have lived.
Easy kill on the Treant. That Shadow Demon Lesh combo. Boy, it's kind of old school, but it is potent. And you know, in the mid, Scandal, he'll get ganked by 3, but will he survive is the question. Certainly not. Bat Rider gets an extra auto attack off, and that Chilling Touch. Strong enough to bring down the Invoker. Looks like the supports on the Dire were about to rotate back in, but Next.kz give them a taste of their own medicine. They'll kill that mid hero and get their first kill up on the scoreboard. That makes it 1-4 here as we pass the 6-minute mark.
So the Shock's actually going for a Lightning Storm build, which is kind of curious to me. I guess he wants more initial burst power than anything else. He doesn't want to worry about... Oh.
Yeah, Disruption here onto the Treant once again. Split Earth will be on the mark. Lesh, he's going to use the Lightning. Doesn't opt for the Edict. Bat Rider coming in. He's not level 6, so there's no lasso online, but oh boy, that Darkseer. He joins the party, and that Ion Shell, just too much damage. That was a failboat coming out from Sharfik, and now Bat Rider coming back in. He'll get Cold Snap. There's your Tornado. Will they finish him off? He's moving into the trees. He'll be fogged in just a second. 5 hit points to spare. He actually ticked down to 1 thanks to that ghost ship movement speed there. He's able to scoot away. What a close call, but Bat Rider makes it out by the skin of his teeth.
Firefly, man. Pretty good ability.
Yeah.
They very, very nearly caught him thanks to the Tornado. You know, if Darkseer had just a couple more levels, so he had a point in Vacuum, they would have been able to finish that off. Even a level 1 Vacuum probably would have gotten that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Wraith King does go straight for Hand of Midas. That's about a 7-minute Midas. Now goes back for his brown boots. And what's Moon doing? Same build, but he had his Midas a little bit earlier, and he's basically a small item up. He's got the Belt of Strength already and has the brown boots and also a Basilius. So Luna doing quite well, and actually about 20 CS up on this Wraith King. So I'm not sure if Mantis is just slacking on the last hits here. I mean, it's only a Darkseer. Yeah, he'll do some harassment, but ultimately Darkseer is not really that good at denying. He's 17-0, hasn't denied a single creep, and I'm not really sure what mechanism it is that's making Mantis struggle so much here.
It's because he has to last hit under tower because of Ion Shell, and it's a problem for him. It's going to be getting better for him now. Of course, his base damage is getting up with his nice strength gain, sitting at 76, but he can't be right next to them. See how much trouble he's having just getting these right here. Whereas Luna, I mean, Bat Rider cannot push to tower effectively without worrying about immediately dying to that Shadow Demon Lesh combo, right? Okay. So he's not able to get any pressure on that Luna, and thus she has complete and utter free farm and shouldn't be missing any last hits, whereas Mantis kind of has to work for about a third of them, as you're seeing.
He's got to work for that money. That's actually a really good point. You're right. Darkseer does shove into the tower, and it sounds so simple. Now that you say it like that, I feel like such a dope for not being able to figure that out all by my lonesome here. But yeah, the tower does make things a lot more difficult. Oh, in the mid, Sharfik may fall to Scandal. He does get living armor, chupping down some ticks of that bottle. It'll be enough to keep him alive, but Scandal still just asserting his dominance here in the mid lane. And Sharfik forced to empty out his bottle, still working on his phase boots. Ouch.
Scandal Invoker is no joke. Ooh, Wraith King ultimate burned. So level 1 ultimate, that's on cooldown for a while if they want to gank him, but Cheshire Cat is going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Wraithfire Blast, man, pretty darn good spell.
It's a ridiculous spell. A
It's
stun and a slow?
yeah.
And a
Well,
slow?
well, 8-second cooldown, man.
Yeah.
It's 300 damage on an 8-second cooldown. So you have, you know,
250.
1/4 of the time.
Oh, no, it
time
is
against
300.
Wraith King, you're
2
stunned.
seconds, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you have the damage over time too.
Yeah. Or is
So
it?
you know you're stunned 1/4 of the time and you're slowed 1/4 of the time against Wraith King. So you're controlled half the time if he wants to just keep throwing that.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd. Bat Rider will find his Blink Dagger here at the 9.5-minute mark in the mid. Ooh, Split Earth off the mark. Probably would have been a kill, though. Bat Rider did retreat to the jungle, and now his farm is looking pretty solid. No points in Flame Break quite yet at level 7, but Blink Dagger, Brown Boots, he did skip the Tranquils, so that's part of the reason he was able to get it so quickly here. And let me see if I can check who this Bat Rider is. If, ooh, never mind, I'll hold that thought as Mantis. He may get ganked. Split Earth on the mark once again. And there's your Soul Catcher. Will they have the damage to bring him down? Lightning, Cheshire Cat just can't get in position. And now the Bat Rider coming in. He'll throw a lasso out, but the defensive disruption on Cheshire Cat keeps him safe and sound. But he gets stunned on top of the Firefly. He's ticking down pretty quickly. Will try to surge back to safety, sips up that bottle, and he will make it out. But a big rotation from Next.kz. This is their entire team coming here. Bat Rider tries to blink forward, but with no Flame Break, can't slow him up too much. And FNG, the one kind of left behind here. He'll get caught by the Torrent, the Ghost Ship, but what is this pause? Oh, God. So Lesh will be inside of a disruption right now. So that will pretty much negate all of this boat Torrent damage. But Jesus, dude, this is like it's like Calypso for Pirates of the Caribbean. Going crazy.
I'm gonna confess I have no idea who Calypso is. I only watched the first movie because I heard it was the only good one.
She's the Caribbean lady with the dreads and the really bad teeth that has the kind of funky. It's almost like a Creole accent, and she's like talking to Jack, and she gives him the big jar of sand in like the third movie, and he puts Davy Jones' heart in it.
First movie, all I saw.
Damn. Well, it gets pretty
Sorry,
intense
man.
when they collect the 7 pieces of 8, and then they summon Calypso. She was the one that took Davy Jones and turned him into a big crab. She cursed him. Turns out she's like this big water monster goddess thing, and then she summons the Kraken.
Sounds pretty hardcore.
Yeah, dude. In the third one, there's that epic like big whirlpool, and all the boats are like in the whirlpool, shooting each other's cannons at each other. That's pretty much what this looks like right here. Boats on top of a whirlpool. I like pirates, dude. It's awesome, man. Those movies kick ass.
I'm gonna point out that I think if Moon wasn't lagging, he may have decided to cancel that TP when he saw the boat coming in, because he might get caught by the edge of this. I can't see the finish indicator, so I'm going to presume it's right under where the boat is right now, and if it is, Moon's about to get stunned, take a lot of damage, and possibly die before he gets off this Eclipse that he obviously was TPing in for. I thought Power Rangers was just going to back up, take this 5-man commit, and pressure 2 towers. That would have been my call. Oh no! He gets out, so maybe they're going to kill off this.
It misses the Luna as well as FNG. That was some clutch Shadow Demon play. Now they'll press forward. The Creep Wave is inbound, but Tornado catches the Treant, and he's only level 4. Torrent on the mark with Scandal, but yeah, Tree completely isolated. He'll end up getting picked off, and everyone else from Next.kz will retreat. So things not going the way Next.kz had hoped. It will be a 1-0 going the other way, and now they might be able to get a tower kill out of it. And while I'm thinking about it, the Japan or the anime name here on the Bat Rider, that is Stallcat, by the way. So a face we would recognize if he was tagged up properly. But Roland throwing him under the bus. Got to tell these players to put on their real names, man. That's your job as the admin.
Well, you know what? Next patch, no one needs to worry about that anymore. Isn't that going to be literally the best patch ever?
Wait, is that a thing? I missed that in the notes.
Pro players are now going to have official names, and in any tournament-enabled mode game, they will be tagged as their official names, as opposed to anything they have tagged up. So now they can like, play under whatever they want and not have to worry about resetting anything.
Oh my God, Chris.
It's good for everyone.
You should have called in the studio yesterday, because we did not talk about that in the patch notes. None of us caught that.
God, you're incompetent. Ugh. I kid.
There is some truth to that.
Number 1 show host.
Dude, there were so many patch notes. I think it was so long. Like the list of bug fixes were just like, I looked at it and thought to myself, I'm sure there's some things in here that are really big that I'm really gonna like, but I'm not gonna read all this. Somebody will tell me later. I'm sure I'll figure it out. And lo and behold, my predictions came true. I'm so glad you're here this morning, Chris. Oh God, Darkseer with Invisibility Rune. He's headed to the mid.
Ooh, something might happen here. On the other hand, something might not.
Yep. I think they might. So, Kunkka, he'll grab this double damage. He's finally got his phase boots up, so that's a step in the right direction. He's found a little bit of recovery, but in terms of CS, he is 34 compared to the 57 of Invoker. So, Scandal has pretty handily taken over this mid lane. There will be a smoke from Power Rangers, though, and the Invisible Darkseer. He'll move into the front line. Smoke gets revealed as Sharfik walks over. X marks the spot out on FNG, and here's your fight breaking out. Equal still not level 6, so there won't be any kind of overgrowth. Bat Rider gets picked off, and Lesh will be the first to fall as the boat is on the mark. Cheshire Cat taking a little bit of damage, but Shadow Demon's inbound to help keep him alive. Darkseer falls as Kunkka chops him down, but he gets picked off as Luna joins the battle, finishes him off with one loosened beam. And it looks like where our fight is going to end. Where did the Bat Rider die? Yeah, he kind of off to the side here.
He lassoed the Luna and got blown up by Eclipse because she got it off just before he lassoed.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So he was the only one in range. So the two key moments in that fight are going to be the lasso that went off right after the Eclipse, because if they had gotten the Luna without the Eclipse going off, Next.kz would have won outright. And then after the Bat Rider got picked off, if that AA ultimate hadn't come in and hit 3 people, Power Rangers would have won the fight outright. Yeah. So basically you had one really key play on each side that turned that into just a wash.
Yeah, ends as 2 for 2, and yeah, I actually kind of missed that Bat Rider last. I got more excited about the tree.
Going on that fight. There was the boat too, and the overgrowth. Oh, it was everywhere.
No, there was no overgrowth. That's what threw me off. I was like, all right, Treant, this is going to be a big overgrowth. He's only level 5, so he didn't really do too much in that fight, and it would have probably been a little more convincing had the tree gotten a little bit more experience. In the mid, though, Sharfik, he's in trouble once again. Soul Catcher, more than enough to let Scandal just right-click him down. And Invoker puts another one on the scoreboard. That makes it 9-4 here, 14 minutes in. Let's glance at these graphs. PR with about a 2,000 experience lead, and they're holding on to a nice, sizable 4,500 gold leader. So not too shabby to get things out of the gate. And I'm not really sure who has the carry advantage here. As I mean, Luna is the hardest carry in this game, but Bat Rider Wraith King and the Kunkka, yeah, they both carry pretty hard in the mid. We'll see Ancient Apparition get picked off once again by Scandal. Living Armor, it just doesn't do enough. That Invoker is a little too scary.
So you have very, very good team fight on both sides. I think Next is a little better for most of the game. I think in the very, very late game, the Darkseer wall and the all the Invoker spells once BKBs start to tick down are going to be very significant for PR. But at the same time, Next has some anti-BKB for that Luna. I mean, they have the lasso set up. They have the overgrowth if they get it off after she pops the BKB. And Wraith King, of course, just doesn't really care. He crits you anyway. But PR are really, really lacking in that department. You have the Demonic Purge, and that's it, which is just as slow. It's not like you can lock anyone down. So if that Wraith King, once he gets magic immunity, they can kite him effectively, but there's so much, good team fight sort of lockdown. For the duration you're going to be able to kite him with Demonic Purge, someone is going to be stunned and is going to get their head chopped off by the only king that matters.
Yeah. Next.kz will do a smoke up in the top lane. The Bat Rider and the Kunkka cruising around looking for some initiation power. FNG on the Lesh will actually TP mid, but Courier and Moon could find themselves in some trouble. Bat Rider looking for the lasso initiation, but now Scandal joining the party. J4 coming in as well. PR with full reinforcements, and Next.kz will have no choice but to back. We'll actually see Stallcat blink defensively here on the Bat Rider, and cruise back to his side of the map. He does get poisoned, but no slow on those. Confuse them with the ghosts. Those ghosts, man. Sometimes they can be like saboteurs. You run by, they hit you with the slow, and then, well, the enemies catch you.
It's still not as bad as, 5 years ago in Han, when the purge creeps would purge you from 7 miles away. That was the worst.
That was just a design flaw. I don't know what's going on with that. But Moon, he gets stunned up. He's the target of choice. He'll get the Eclipse off before he falls. He'll get full beams. Bat Rider and Treant get demolished. Wraith King as well. That proxy ultimate. Everyone gets slowed up. Makes for an easy boat. Connects with at least 3. Now Kunkka coming in. The defensive disruption. Buys Leshrac some time, but he still falls. Luna also got picked up as well. And that is some pretty crazy setup that I have never seen before. Wraith King dying like that. Easy boat for Kunkka. It's not over yet, though. Now Wraith King, he may get turned around upon. Ancient Apparition finally joining the battle. Those big hands throwing out the chilling touch, but it's just not enough. They'll click him down, and this could be a full team wipe for Next.kz. Sharfik, negative earn charge on. He'll find a kill onto the Darkseer, and he is one hit from death. The poison from Shadow Demon ticking him down. Scandal comes in to finish him off. J4 very low. EMP. Tornado. That's actually not a tornado. That's a Yule's. Too many tornadoes coming out from Scandal here. They'll burn his mana, and now Equal. He'll make it back, but Bat Rider, he fell before the lasso, even with was used. Now he'll come back. He gives J4 a taste of the lasso. J4 alive for now. Will he tick down another positive Earth Charge? Somehow the Shadow Demon is still alive. Stalkcat finally falls. Now the Ice Blast comes in. Scandal, he'll probably shatter here. He'll use out the Yules. Will it be enough, though? Shatter will commence. See you later, Scandal. And the Tier 1 towers, well, they'll be just fine. A massacre! It's a bloodbath, a bloody slaughter in the mid lane. But I think Power Rangers come out way ahead.
Scandal, what a hero in that fight. So you saw how he was playing on like no health for pretty much the entire second half of that engagement after that that beautiful boat to follow up the resurrection slow from Wraith King, which is, by the way, one of the best things I've seen in quite a while. That boat was very, very well aimed. But so Scandal, he's about to get Wraithfire Blasted. He managed to invoke and get off a Ghost Walk very, very quickly, dodge the Wraithfire Blast, turns around, kills the Wraith King, turns around, kills the AA, you know, comes back in, can kill the Bat Rider, and then doesn't die until the AA finally resurrects and gets off an Ice Blast back into the fight.
Yeah.
He lasted so much longer than he had any right to right there, and it was all skill.
Yep, all positioning and avoiding those big damage-dealing abilities. Now, following that fight, PR will also get another pick-me-up. Luna went Hand-to-Midas into Helm of the Dominator. The very greedy build has grabbed a creep, and he's been stacking Ancients this whole time. He just cleared out a good 3-stack, and now he's number 1 on net worth by a pretty big margin. He did fall in that last fight, but also picked up at least one of the kills, if not 2, before he went down. So that'll make him now 3-1-1. He's just about to hit level 14 on par with the Invoker. And this Luna getting pretty big already. Just broke that 10k net worth barrier here at only the 18-minute mark.
Yeah, considering the really kind of greedy farming item build she's gone for, she's been very effective in team fights. I mean, usually, obviously, you'd want, and she's going to go in for the BKB next. You see her pick up the Mithril Hammer. Yep. But you would want a BKB early against this team, so you can just go in and eclipse people and not care and just be like, hey, how you doing? We're just going to wreck you right now with all this damage. FNG.
Uh-oh, he gets X'd back. The disruption once again makes the boat a moot point, and he'll just walk back to safety. Look at this team support here. Well, maybe not complete safety. He will get blasted in the face by the Wraithfire, but it's enough to keep him alive. Wow. Everyone survives. He gets another positive Earn Charge, and PR will just reset for another day. Darkseer, he's going straight into pipe. Hooded Defiance, Headdress already online, and now just pulling up for that recipe. And I think it's not a bad choice here against all the magic damage from the Kunkka, the Tree's Leech Seed, the Ice Blast, and even the Firefly. It's a pretty warranted first item pickup.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. It's theoretically possible that that's going to be a mech, but probably not against an AA. I would agree with you that it's most likely the pipe first.
I actually don't mind mech against AA. I know it's...
I don't think it's bad. I just think that pipe is more reliable.
Uh-oh, J4, he'll get caught inside of the lasso. Boat comes flying in. The defensive disruption will keep the Shadow Demon alive, but won't do anything for the Darkseer. Moon coming in with a huge eclipse. Finishes off, well, Shadow Demon dies, but finishes off the Ancient Apparition. Demon buys back into the game, and the Kunkka will fall now. Bat Rider very low. He comes back down for a few more auto attacks. It'll cost him his health. I'm not sure if he could have gotten away, but coming back down definitely secured his death. Mantis also got picked off. He'll come back, compliments of the reincarnation. Won't even find the kill on the Lesh. Working around the trees a bit too effectively. Shadow Poison starting to stack up. Disruption to make sure he can't get away. And Living Armor just won't be enough. Power Rangers have so many tools to deal with that Living Armor. Between the Ion Shell, the Poison from the Shadow Demon, and then the Edict on top of that. It feels like Living Armor just doesn't do very much. And again, Next.kz almost get completely wiped. Equal's the only one that survives with those big, beefy tree legs of his.
Well, AA Blast's going to fly. It's looking for FNG back. Oh, they see it fly. He's just going to get out of the way.
Oh, look at these plays from Lesh. The Playmaker. The Freshmaker.
Actually, they may have just predicted it, because I think that was actually just the tracer I was watching, so they may not have actually seen it. It was just like, wait a minute, dude. Wait for that to land at the pool first. And he was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
That's one of those little...
Like a Necro from Lesh.
Yeah, that's one of those little, like, as a spectator, it can look like, what are you excited about? He just moved out of the well. Like, duh, anybody can do that. But it takes a pretty good amount of game sense to think about, okay, Ancient Apparition, when's the ult coming? Where should I be? And that was just well-timed by the Lesh. He moved out of harm's way just at the right time. And
yeah, he wasted very little time not healing, too.
Yes, exactly. It's those little things that make Power Rangers looking pretty strong in this game. 10,000 gold, now about 12,000 experience in their favor. And, oh yeah, before that happened, we were talking about mech versus the Ancient Apparition. And obviously, you can't mech when the AA ult is on, but, I mean, that's okay. There's always that window of after the debuff has expired and Ice Blast is still on cooldown, you still have plenty of time to mech, and you can top people off right after the Ice Blast expires. So I don't think it's that bad. You just have to be a little bit more careful with how you use it. But it definitely does deter some teams from grabbing mech.
Well, it's certainly not a bad thing. I would not skip mech just because there's an AA in the game. I just think that if you're,
Yeah.
especially against this lineup with the Kunkka, with the Bat Rider, all of this constant magic damage, I do agree with you that a pipe is going to be a more reliable way of keeping your team alive.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. So Wraith King, he's got himself Power Treads, Drum of Endurance, and now just goes for a Maelstrom. No gap closer quite yet. And at this point, a carry Wraith King, I think either a Force Staff or most likely a Blink Dagger. Either or are core. You need some kind of a position tool to get up in their face and start chopping them down with that sword. And he just hasn't had a big impact in these fights, except for dying. That reincarnation has actually been huge to set up a couple of those boats in some of these team fights, but in terms of damage output, I feel like he's been a little lackluster considering how much farm he has relative to the others on his team. But we'll hold that thought as Bat Rider gets initiated upon. He does get hit by the EMP after the tornado gets cold snapped, and Scandal just finishes him off. This Invoker now level 16. He is quite scary. They'll commit to this tier 1 tower kill in the mid lane. Glyph has already been used. No more living armor, and even Alacrity comes out on Luna. No way you're stopping that push. And Luna will also now hit level 16. FNG in the top lane almost gets finished off by the Kunkka. Does survive it. Oh, Scandal comes in. He throws the ghost ship. It's a failboat. And now Sharfik in big doo-doo. Living armor gets completely taken off. A double tornado. Scandal gets X marked the spotted, but doesn't have a care in the world. He'll just click him down. Throws out an Alacrity on himself for good measure. Even the Yules during the last auto attack, he's like, I know you're dead. I'm going to be flashy. And he picks up an easy double kill.
It was dodge cold snap to make sure no one could come in, or not cold snap, cold feet.
Oh, the cold feet.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Never mind. I thought it was just
yeah,
Scandal being showy. That's my. Even Roland's laughing at me right now. Jesus. It's early here on the Pacific Coast, guys. Oh God.
No, that was oh god. The boat also. The boat was almost really good because he wasn't actually throwing that to try and get the stun off. He was throwing that for the 50% damage reduction. You saw he almost lived.
Yeah.
And he only did that because he was taking the reduced damage from the rum.
Yeah. That's a good point. But Mantis, ooh, he'll get picked down near the bottom rune, and that'll proc his reincarnation. Eclipse burned by Moon. Oh, great timing. He does fall in the end. The dot from the Wraithfire Blast a little too much, but in comes Stallcat. He blinks forward. They won't have the damage or the lockdown to stop him from running away, but it is going to be a 1-for-1. Position 1 for position 1. Actually still doing a lot of damage to the bat. There's the overgrowth, but in comes Scandal. Throws out the Yules, connects with an EMP, and another double kill coming out. Oh, man. Next.kz just getting picked apart, but... Wow.
This is just ridiculous coming out from Scandal. He's 11-2-12. There's 27 kills. He's been in 23 of them. 11 of them have been his kills.
Jesus.
This dude is nuts. He's got a Force Staff, a Yules, a Drum, Phase Boots, and he's working on a Sheep Stick that he's almost halfway to.
Yeah, now Sharfik, he'll get initiated upon once again. There's the boat for the Cocoa Rum. Looking perhaps to smack somebody in the face with it. Will hit the Shadow Demon, but they had pipe on, so it does next to nothing. Rather unfortunate for the Next.kz stand-in, but they're probably regretting their choice not to ban out that Invoker. That is definitely a hero and player combo, Invoker Scandal, that I would not want to tango with.
At the same time, their bans were... They banned out Ember Spirit and Centaur as their first two. Maybe the Centaur you could have let through, but he's pretty frightening.
Yeah,
as a general hero. And Ember Spirit, no one wants to deal with that crap.
Yeah,
I don't care what player it is.
We're at that point in this patch where they're pretty much scary heroes regardless, but I would probably let the Centaur go through over the Invoker.
Especially against Scandal.
Yeah, especially against Scandal. Yeah, FNG, he gets initiated on the mid lane, but support comes in. He'll survive for now, but Ice Blast flying through. That'll be a shatter. He'll be the first kill in this fight, but Mantis taking heavy damage. Has no ultimate yet. It's only level... Well, it's level 3 now. When he died before, it was level 2, so still stuck on that long cooldown. And they'll make it a 1-for-1 support Lesh for the position 1 Wraith King. Sharfik, Shadowblade online, looking for initiation onto Scandal. Will find it. X marks the spot. Torrent, boat. Nope, no boat. Too much support inbound. Seeing that Shadow Demon. Doesn't want to boat into the disruption once again. But, yeah. I don't know. What can Next.kz do here? 15,000 gold, 20,000 experience. PR haven't even been pushing that hard. They've only knocked down tier 1 towers. It's 3-0 in total tower count. And,
I mean, it's just... Obviously, they're getting a lot more towers. They're getting the better of the team fights thanks to Scandal's Invoker, which has been absolutely dominant. As well as, I mean... Like you said, don't count out. J4 on that Shadow Demon has been exceptional. Oh, yeah. In the early game, like I'm talking about the ratio of, how many kills Scandal's involved in versus how many they've actually gotten. In the early game, there was a lot going on, but I kept wanting to mention, that was J4 earlier. When they had like 15 kills, he had been in 12 of them. He set up so much, he saved so many lives, And now he's got a Blink Dagger on this Shadow Demon to just help with initiation and saving people.
Yep.
I think they're going to get this Roshan.
Very easily, uncontested, but now Next.kz, they want to join the fun. Batrider lassos the ledge, but he gets Yulesed and the defensive disruption comes out. Talk about countering the Batrider. Stallcat just gets blown up. Oh, man. That is some serious hate for the Batrider right there.
They can take both of the remaining outer towers now. Because even if Batrider comes back up, his lasso is going to be on cooldown for 15 more seconds, and they're going to get Sharfik.
Yeah, not much Sharfik can do here. He'll get the living armor buff, but it'll get knocked off very quickly. There's the Yules once again. Split Earth on the money, and just too much control. Now, the tree comes in, does connect with an overgrowth, but there's just no follow-up. Mantis tries to come through for some right clicks, but he's got to about face pretty much about the time he gets to the party without any kind of positioning tool. He just walks in, and by the time he gets in melee range, he's already down to half health. And they'll actually proc his ultimate here. Wow. So there's a tier 2 tower kill, and easy 2-0 for PR.
So I actually really like that AA went top to counter push instead of being in that fight. They knew they weren't going to win. And so they knew also that if the creeps kept pushing up, they were going to lose 2 outer tier towers instead of just one. Scandal looking for him. You actually could see him duck into that hiding spot and then think about, wait a minute, if I go in there, they're going to see me. Just switch to where he's going.
Yep.
Well, what good little mind games right there, man. Otherwise, he would have been very, very dead to that Invoker. And the last thing you need right now is to give Scandal more kills. He's got his Hex he's about to buy right now.
Yep.
So 28 minutes, Yule's Hex, 4 staff drum phase.
That's ridiculous farm.
Ridiculous. And no Midas. That's no Midas.
Yeah, that's no Midas. Other big items are coming out. Darkseer now picks up a Blink Dagger. Lesh has level 3 Necro Book. And Luna has a Manta and a BKB. 10-second BKB out now. Around the backside, Scandal coming in. He's a little bit outnumbered here, but he'll plow forward. EMP on the mark with Mantis. And they'll have enough to take him down. Ultimate not going to be available. Compliments of that mana burn now. How's the rest of this fight going to break out? BKB popped. Invoker will actually fall. The Ghost Ship flies. FNG could be in trouble. Defensive Disruption comes out. Stallcat taking some damage. This is a multiple fight breaking out here. Moon is around the backside. He's getting clicked down by the Wraith King. That'll proc the Aegis. And the rest of his team starting to come through. The Treant now falls. As the Aegis brings up Luna, they'll chase down the Wraith King. He bought back for this. So this will be a dieback for him if they can chase him down. He just throw a Wraithfire Blast out on Cheshire Cat, but they just have too many gap closers now. 2 Blink Daggers, and see a Wraith King. That'll pock his ultimate now. Strongman Mantis. How many lives does this guy have? And he'll actually make it back to the base this time. He survives, but still a pretty convincing team fight for PR, even though Next.kz do get that huge bounty by finishing off Scandal. I think go the way of Kunkka as well.
Moon actually going to go a little bit tankier. He's going to go for a Satanic next. Just picked up his Reaver. So he's going to be very, very difficult to kill. Combined with the pipe, the BKB, and everything he's got going on, how are you going to bring this guy down?
That vacuum onto Sharfik pulls him into an awful position. Nowhere to go, and Moon just right-clicks him down. Those auto attacks are getting a little crazy.
Oh, that hero. She's so wonderful.
I
love Luna.
I like Luna as well.
It's just, from the beginning of the game, she had the slightly faster Midas because she was getting better farm in the lane. She's a way, way faster farming hero. She went for a very greedy build, whereas Wraith King did not. He went for a very kind of farming and fighting build. Yeah. So now that the game has been, it's been active, but it hasn't been in Next.kz's favor. So on top of getting all this farming stuff, Luna's team is making things happen for her. She's doubling him in net worth now.
Yep. And
30 minutes in, doubling the enemy carry. That's a very bad sign.
Yeah, a fair part of that is, well, a lot of it's in hero kills now, but at the beginning, that early edge came from stacking Ancients. We'll see Equal. He was invisible, but little does he know there's a gem up on that Shadow Demon, and Treant will get a first-class ticket right back to the grave. But they did a really good job stacking Ancients. It always pains me to see a team with a Luna not stacking Ancients, but that is one way to really accelerate her farm, and like you mentioned, that really greedy build going the Helm of the Dominator, he did a good job. Just stacking by himself, didn't even need help from the supports. Moon was a one-man show on that front, and, well, Ancient's completely uncontested. That's how he started to get ahead, and then once he got ahead, he used that to pick up some kills. Now, Power Rangers...
it was good that he didn't need the supports, because they spent so much time creating space and killing everyone.
Killing the
other
lanes,
They had no time to be stacking. They were fighting the whole game.
Yeah. Now, Next.kz, they may get their first tower kill here. They were pressuring the top tier 1, but nope, still at half health. Meanwhile, Power Rangers, they're down bottom. They pop the pipe, and they'll start pressuring this bottom tier 3. Wraith King will indeed finish off the tier 1 mid, so Next.kz won't tap out of this game without a tower kill to their name. But this tier 3 taking pretty hefty damage. Glyph popped. It's down to half health before they're even in position to defend. And I'm not sure how they're going to defend this. They need a big boat. They need a big overgrowth. They need a big everything here. Most importantly, I think they need that Wraith King in the front lines. There's your overgrowth. Connects onto Moon and FNG. But BKB straight away from Moon. He'll take down the Wraith King to start things off. Eclipse gets popped and actually doesn't do too much damage. Just clears up some creeps. Stallcat, he gets lassoed, disrupted. Equal now falls. Down goes the Bat Rider as well. Tornado will let the Invoker survive. They'll lose their Luna as Wraith King comes back up from his little nap and does click him down. Sharfik actually rejoining the battle. It'll cost him his life. And now Next.kz, they're on their last leg. They'll burn those last-ditch buybacks. Bat Rider and Kunkka back on the field. Power Rangers with only one dead, but a lot of low-health heroes. Lesh will stand in the front ground, wants to finish off the melee racks, and they'll go down. So his efforts were worth it. And PR, not the best push, but they force 2 buybacks. They pretty much clean up Next.kz, and they get melee racks. So at the end of the day, still good for them, even though they lost 2 Tier 1 towers in that exchange.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 2 T1 towers for a T3 and a melee racks, as well as forcing out, all those buybacks. The Luna very, very nearly lived right there. She popped her Satanic, but just got focused down just before it could actually make a difference for her. Unfortunate for Moon, but at the same time, I don't think he's going to complain too hard. That fight definitely swung pretty well in their direction. One would imagine he'll be going for a Butterfly next, and that's going to be the death knell here. I gotta say, I don't like that Sharfik went for the very light Shadow Blade. He only got that at like 27 minutes-ish, 26, 27. And I would have rather just had straight crit there, because you're at the point in the game where you're not going to be getting anything. You're not doing a lot of initiation. You're mostly counter-initiating. You're not doing a lot of ganking, so the burst damage is somewhat less of a big thing. You would like a little bit more. And Trian goes down to Scandal again.
Yep, Scandal. It's such an easy solo kill. Cold Snap, click, 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 and what does the tree do? Even if he gets living armor off, it's just maybe 2 more auto attacks that the Invoker has to fly. It just...
like, name something that isn't an easy solo kill for Scandal right now.
Wraith King, that's about it.
Yeah, like...
Only because he can spam
Kunkka
stuns and try to run away and wait for team support. But still, if he was in really deep, I'm sure Scandal could chase him to the ends of the earth and finish him off. But looking like Power Rangers will be able to seal the deal before too long. Shadow Demon just hops to the high ground and takes out one of 2 precious wards for Next.kz. And again, neuters their vision around the map. No Glyph available this time. And that'll make this defense even more difficult. Mantis, just look at these illusions! Oh my gosh, he's picked up a Blade Mail now, but he's almost going to die to illusions. That is just ridiculous. That right there is just the most easy to understand indicator of how tilted PR right now are in this game.
Well, to be fair, 2 of those were Shadow Demon illusions, dealing 60%.
Yeah. Still. Oh, vacuum into the low ground. Bat Rider gets destroyed. Mantis comes back up after his ultimate gets proc. The boat flies in, does connect with a few, but Mantis, he's in no man's land. He's way out of the base. He gets cold snap. Necro units going ham, and that'll secure the kill. There's the GG. Game was good. Next.kz are forced to tap out, and Power Rangers, they take them out in their first of 3 best of 1 today, 44-16 after 35 minutes of gameplay. A pretty convincing win. We are talking about how Power Rangers plus Scandal is a pretty scary team lineup, and they did not disappoint here, Hippie.
Hey man, Scandal's always been frightening. Power Rangers have always had that potential. It is a match made in heaven. I love these guys. I think they have the potential to go so far. PR to TI4? Yes? Yes?
Yeah, I think there is a real chance. They'll have to tighten up a little bit. Power Rangers are a team that are obviously very skilled, and now with Scandal, that takes them to the next level, but they still have issues with consistency. This is a team that will upset your Navis, your Alliances, and then they'll lose to lower-tier teams. Like I've seen them lose to the Retry. They're a very... Some days they're on, and when they're on, boy, are they scary, but they have trouble doing that consistently. Regardless, a very convincing win. Scandal, he has to be my MVP. 15-3-20 on that Invoker. Ends the game at level 22 with 750 XP per minute, 530 GPM. Absolutely disgusting Quaswex Invoker play. Well, that's our first game. Roland, when's our break today? Do we have a long gap until our next game now? There is an hour break between one of the games, and I'm forgetting what the schedule is off the top of my head. Come on, man. Well, we'll either have like a 5-minute break or we'll have like an hour and 5-minute break. And I don't know. My guess is as good as yours. Apparently no one has a schedule in front of them down here.
I think I'm pretty sure it's the hour one.
Next one's at 9:45. Okay. Oh, it's a 2-hour break. Holy Toledo. Okay, so we're gonna have a long break here, guys. Then we'll have 2 more matches coming up. Roland, what are they? Power Rangers is in both. Power Rangers versus rox.kis will be the next one, and that's going to be a good one. And then it's Power Rangers versus MYM, where I think PR will have a pretty good. Their odds are pretty good in that one. But I'm Zyori. I was joined remotely by Hippie, and Chris, you're still going to be hanging around, right? You'll be here in 2 hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, good. Glad to hear it. So thank you for joining us here for Summit EU coverage, guys. A short schedule today, but we'll leave the stream running and come on back in about 2 hours' time where we'll have Power Rangers versus rox.kis.